Today we're covering slopes and equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. Our objectives are to identify and graph parallel and perpendicular lines, to write the equations to describe lines parallel or perpendicular to a given line. Let's review a few key components first. Slope is rise over run. Remember, rise is the change or the difference in the y, the vertical. So if you rise, you're standing up. Run is the change or difference in x, the horizontal. So if you are running, you're running across the ground. Remember, in math, difference means subtraction. So when we say a difference in the y, y2 minus y1. When we say a difference in the x, x2 minus x1. Slope-intercept form is an equation, y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope, b is our y-intercept. Point-slope form, y minus y equals m, x minus x, where y is a number, x is a number, and m is your slope. Moving on to new vocabulary. Parallel lines are lines that never cross. They have the same slope, but a different y-intercept. So if we look at the picture, I have two lines that are both going up. So they both have positive slopes, and they gave us the equation. The slope is 1/2. Our y-intercept for the top one is at 5, and our y-intercept for the bottom one is at. So they have to have different y-intercepts. If they had the same y-intercept, they'd be on top of each other, which would be the same line. Perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are lines that cross at 90-degree angles. Very specifically, they make a right angle where they cross. The slope is a negative reciprocal. That means you flip the sign and you flip the slope upside down. What does that mean? If one slope is negative 2/3, the other slope is going to be positive 3/2. We changed the sign and we flipped the fraction upside down. Now, if we had another example where they gave us the original slope was 4, well, how do you flip a 4 upside down? Simple. All numbers are fractions over an invisible 1. That means when it flips upside down, it's going to be negative 1/4. So here would be the question to go along with that example. A line has a slope of 4. What is the slope of any line perpendicular to this line? If the original slope was 4, then the new slope will be negative 1/4. When you have questions that say, identify if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither, this is what you do. First, solve these problems by finding the slope. You can't answer their question unless you find the slope. In order to find the slope, you're going to want to put it into slope-intercept form or point-slope form, either or. Sometimes they'll be nice. They'll give us a pretty picture. The instructions here are determine if the lines are parallel. So now I need to find the slope and the y-intercepts for both of these. We'll do the top line in green. So I need the slope and the y-intercept for the top line. The y-intercept is easy to see. It's at 1, 2.5, so 2.5. Our slope, well, slope is rise over run. From this dot that they gave me to that dot right there, I'm going to rise 2, and I'm going to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my slope is rise 2, run 6, which when reduced is 1/3. Now we do the same thing for the next one. I need my slope and my y-intercept. My y-intercept is right down here at 0, so they have different y-intercepts, which is good. Now my slopes. I'm going from this point to that point. I'm going to rise 4. And I'm going to run 8, which means I have rise 4/8, which when that reduces is only 1/2. So do they have the same slopes? The answer is no. So you would say that these are neither parallel nor perpendicular. We're going to do the same thing for the next problem. I need slope and y-intercept. My y-intercept is unable to be determined, but we know it's going to be really, really big off the graph. Now my slope is rise, so I'm rising from 1 all the way up to 5. That's a rise of 4, and run 1. 4/1, which is simply 4. Now for the other line, my b is equal to -2, and my slope is rising from -2 to +2, which was 4, and I'm running 1. So 4/1, which is equal to 4. So you would say, yes, Yes, these are parallel. Now, the two vertical lines side by side is the symbol for parallel lines. Next, they want us to determine if the lines are perpendicular. For perpendicular lines, I only need to find the slope. I really don't care about the y-intercept. So for the first problem, I'm going to use the positive one. This is going up, so automatically I know it's positive. Then I'm going to count the rise. I'm starting down here at -5 and going all the way up to 1. That gives me a rise of 6 over. The run is 1, 2, 3 across. 6 over 3 is equal to 2. I start here. Remember, we always start from left to right, and the line's going down, so automatically I know it's negative, and I count. I'm going down 1, 2, and I'm running 3, 4. My slope is -2 over 4, which reduces to -1/2. The big question now is, are 2 and 1/2 negative reciprocals? Yes, if I take -1/2 and I flip it upside down, I get a 2 over 1 and switch the signs to make positive. So yes, these are negative reciprocals, which means I can say, yes, line 1 and 2 are perpendicular. The little symbol here means perpendicular. Let's try another one. My first line going from left to right is negative, so I know m is equal to a negative because it's going down. If I'm starting up here at -4, 4, and I'm coming down here to 3, -3, I've gone down 7, and I've run 7. So my slope is -7 over 7, which is simply -1. Now for the other line going from left to right, I know it's going up, so m is going to be positive. And here's my dot right here. I'm starting at 1, -1, and I'm going up to 6, 3. So I'm going up 4, and I'm running to the right 5. So my rise is 4, my run is 5. Is -1 the same as 4/5? No. So you would say, no, these are not perpendicular. Next, the equations of 4 lines are given. Identify which lines are parallel. When we do this, we always find the slope and the y-intercept first. The first one is really easy for us. Y equals mx plus b. It's already in slope-intercept form. We're happy. So we would say our slope is -7 and our b is equal to 6. The next one, we're going to have to do a little bit of math. In order to get the y by itself, I'm going to have to subtract the x. So I do a side problem. X plus 1/5. Y is equal to -6. I'm going to have to subtract the x to both sides. It gives me 1/5 y is equal to -x minus 6. In order to get rid of the fraction, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/5 is 5 over 1. What I do to one side, I do to the other. The 5's will cancel out, and that gives me y is equal to 5 times -x is -5x. 5 times -6 is -30. So now I can see my new equation. I'm going to rewrite it up here so it's all together. Y is equal to, my slope is -5, my y-intercept is -30. The next one in the line, again, is done for us, which is really nice. -5 is our slope, so m equals -5, and our b is equal to -8. And the last one is in point slope form. That's fine. I'm going to steal the slope. M equals -1/7. And if I need the b, then I can come back and find it. So they were asking, identify which lines are parallel. So here I have the same slope, but a different y-intercept. So we would say lines 2 and 3 are parallel. Take a look at lines -1 with a slope of -7 and 4 with a slope of -1/7. Are they perpendicular? And the answer is no. Yes, they are reciprocals, but no, they do not have opposite negative signs. So no, they are not perpendicular. Now it says identify the lines that are perpendicular. So we're going to go through the same exact steps. We need to find the slope for each of them. For perpendicular lines, I don't care about the y-intercept. So this is line 1. It's not in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to fix that. X minus 6y is equal to 15. Subtract the x from both sides, which cancels. That gives you negative 6y is equal to negative x plus 15. Divide both sides by negative 6. What you do to one side, you do to all of the other side. The negative 6's cancel, and that gives you y is equal to negative divided by negative is a positive. Now we're going to write the x on the side and just deal with the coefficient. What's the coefficient? It's an invisible 1. So 1 over 6. Positive divided by negative is a negative. Now 15 over 6, that can be reduced by 3. So we always do the proper math, which gives us 5/2. So this was line 1. For line 1, we have a slope of 1/6. Now let's take a look at line 2. Line 2 is already in slope-intercept form, which is nice. We have a slope of positive 3, or just 3 over 1. Remember, all slopes are fractions. For line 3, here in gray, it's already in slope-intercept form. Our slope is the number in front of the x, negative 3, and that's going to be over an invisible 1. M is equal to negative 3 over 1. For line 4 over here, which we'll do in red, we have slope is equal to negative 6, and that's going to be over an invisible 1, negative 6 over the invisible 1. And for line 5 over here in purple, again, it's not in slope-intercept form, so we'll have to do a little bit of math. 3y is equal to negative x minus 11, so I'm going to have to divide both sides by 3. That gives you y is equal to, and the coefficient is an invisible 1, so you'd say negative 1/3 x minus 11/3. I just need the slope, which is negative 1/3. Negative 1/3. Now I'm looking for negative reciprocals. Look at line 1 and line 4. Line 1 is positive 1/6, and line 4 is negative 6 over 1. So it went from positive to negative and flipped upside down. We can also look at line 2, positive 3 over 1, and line 5, negative 1/3. So line 2 and line 5 have changed their signs and flipped upside down. So my answer will be lines 1 and 4, lines 2 and 5 are perpendicular. So here I had two sets of lines that were perpendicular to each other. So that was identifying lines that are parallel and perpendicular. Now we're actually going to have to start writing lines that are parallel and perpendicular. The instructions say to write an equation slope-intercept form for the line that is parallel to the given line and passes through the given point. So there's one reason why they gave us a line, and only one reason: in order to steal the slope. So many kids get confused on why is there a line there? What do I need to do with it? You need to do one thing. You need to figure out what that slope is. M equals 3. Now that I know what the slope is, I don't care about that line anymore. Now I need to actually answer the question. I need an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that is parallel. Well, what do I know about parallel lines? Parallel lines have the same slope. So if my original slope was 3, I'm keeping the slope of 3. Good, I've got the slope. Now I need to find the y-intercept of the new line. That's what the point is for, to help me find the y-intercept. There's two ways of doing this. You can watch the video on point slope form to see both ways. Here, this is the way I prefer to do it. X comma y, plug it into y equals mx plus b. My y will be 4. My m is 3. And my x is 0. We literally just plug those in. So we said y is 4 equals m is 3, x is 0, plus b. Solve for b because that's what we're missing. 3 times 0 is 0, so that cancels out. That's nice. 4 is equal to b. Now I can write it in slope-intercept form. Y equals m is 3, x plus b. Our b is 4. Write the equation of the line parallel to the given line. Here, they weren't as nice though. They didn't give it to us in slope-intercept form. Remember, this line here is there for one reason, so that I can take the slope. So we need to find the slope. I'm going to subtract 2x from the other side. That gives me 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 7. In order to get to 3 gone, I divide both sides by 3. That gives me y is equal to negative 2/3 with the x behind it. Remember, when we have slope, we need the fraction in front. That means you're only dealing with the coefficients, plus 7/3. What is your slope? Your slope is negative 2/3. M equals negative 2/3. Now I am finished with that first equation. Gone. I don't need it. It was only there for one reason, to take the slope. Now I can move on. I need to figure out my new equation. The slope on parallel lines are the same, so my new slope is still there at negative 2/3. I need to find the y-intercept. So y is equal to mx plus b. I know that my y value is 5. I know that my slope, my m, is negative 2/3. And I know that my x value is 4. Plug those in to find b. 5 equals negative 2/3 times 4 plus b. Negative 2 times 4, which is over an invisible 1, gives me negative 8. 3 times 1 is 3. Multiplying fractions, multiply straight across. Plus b is equal to 5. I need to move the 8/3 to the other side. Some people that don't like to add and subtract fractions can multiply everything by 3 in order to get rid of the fraction. That's fine. I'm not going to give you a hard time. If I multiply everything by 3, I get 3b plus, then there's a negative 8 is equal to 15. I distributed the 3 through in order to get rid of the fractions so I don't have to add and subtract fractions. If you're good with adding and subtracting fractions, please do. Add the 8 to the other side. That cancels. That gives you 15 plus 8 is 23 is equal to 3b. Now I need to get rid of that 3 that I just put on it, so I divide by 3. Our y-intercept is 23/3. Now I can rewrite the equation. I have y equals, my slope is negative 2/3 plus my b value we just solved as 23/3. 23/3. Sometimes they'll want a mixed number instead. 3 goes into 23 7 times, and there's 2/3 left over. So we could also say y is equal to negative 2/3. X, don't forget your x, plus 7 2/3. Those were parallel lines. Now we're here at perpendicular lines. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that is perpendicular to the given line and that passes through the given point. It might also just say find the line perpendicular to the given line through the point. So what is that original equation there for? The original equation is there to give me the slope, nothing more. So the slope of the original is negative 3. So m of the original is equal to negative 3. But we're talking about perpendicular. Perpendicular are negative reciprocals. That means that my new slope is going to transform into m is equal to, the opposite sign is positive, 3 flipped upside down is 1/3. So what we did is we took a negative 3 over an invisible 1 and we changed it to a positive 1/3. My new slope is 1/3. Now we do the exact same thing we were doing in the previous problems. My y value is negative 2. My m is 1/3. My x is 6. I plug them in to find b. Negative 2 equals 1/3 times 6 plus b. 1/3 times 6 is 2. Now in order to get this to the other side, I subtract by 2. b is equal to negative 4. Now I can rewrite my new equation. Y equals, my m is 1/3, x is beside it, minus 4 is our b. Y equals 1/3 x minus 4. Again, find the line perpendicular to the given line through the point. Problem is, the line that they gave us originally is in standard form and I need it in slope-intercept form so I can steal that slope. So we do a little bit of math. Subtract 5x to the other side, which gives me 2y is equal to negative 5x plus 10. Divide both sides by 2. Y equals negative 5 over 2 with an x beside it plus 10 divided by 2 is 5. So their original slope was m equals negative 5 over 2. Now our new slope needs to be transformed. So the new slope is going to be the negative reciprocal. If it was originally negative, now it's positive. And if it was originally 5 over 2, now it's 2 over 5. Again, what we did, we took negative 5 over 2 and we flipped it to a positive 2 over 5, my new slope. So the old information I don't need anymore. I have my new slope 2/5. I still need to find my y-intercept, where 3 is my x and 5 is my y. And I plug the numbers in. Negative 5 is equal to 2/5, x is 3, plus b. Do the math. 3 is over invisible 1. That leaves us with negative 5 is equal to 2 times 3 is 6 over 5 plus b. Now in the last problem, we got rid of the 5 as the denominator, so we didn't have to add fractions. This time I'm just going to go ahead and add the fraction. So I'm going to minus 6/5 to both sides. When subtracting or adding fractions, do it as a side problem. 5 over 1 minus 6 over 5. I need a common denominator, which is going to be a 5, so I have to multiply this times 5. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. That gives me a common denominator of 5, and on top I have negative 25 minus 6 is equal to negative 31 over 5. So b is equal to negative 31 over 5. Now if I want to write this as a mixed number, 5 goes into 31 6 times, and there's 1/5 left over. That'll give me a final answer of y is equal to, our slope is 2/5 x plus our b value, and we just figured out that our b value is negative 6 1/5. Negative 6 1/5. Depending on the textbook or the instructor, you might have been okay with leaving it at negative 31/5.